Okay. All right.
All right, let's talk a little bit about what you are talking about. And, over the weekend, a couple of the president's aides went on talk shows and talked about how Fox News, not a real news organization.
Valerie Jarrett, Rahm Emanuel, and David Axelrod.
Yeah, yes, indeed. And so you got those three out there saying that. Well, you'd figure this would eventually come up at the White House during the gaggle, and it did. It came up a couple of times yesterday. ABC's Jake Tapper, who is a great reporter and asks a lot of fair and balanced questions, buttonholed Mr. Gibbs and wanted him to respond to the, the assertion that Fox News is not a news operation. So let's go ahead and take a look at exactly what was said.
Yeah, it's escaped none of our notice. This is Jake Tapper talking. He has a deeper voice. That the White House has decided in the last few weeks to declare one of our sister organizations, thank you, not a news organization, and to tell the rest of us not to treat them like a news organization. Can you explain why it's appropriate for the White House to decide that a news organization is not one? Now, Gibbs came back, Jake. We render an opinion based on some of the coverage and the fairness of that coverage. Okay, that sounds like something Dr. Seuss would say. But that's a pretty sweeping declaration. They are not a news organization, Jake retorted back. How are they any different from ABC, MSNBC, Univision? I mean, how are they any different? What a defense. Take it from here, girl.
Thank you, boy. Gibbs said, well, you and I should watch sometime around 9 o'clock tonight or 5 o'clock this afternoon, which Tapper responded to. I'm not talking about their opinion programming, because that's Glenn Beck and Sean Hannity, or issues you have with certain reports. I'm talking about saying thousands of individuals who work for a media organization do not work for a news organization. Why is that appropriate for the White House to say? And Gibbs summed it up by saying, that's our opinion. Now, interestingly enough, apparently in this reporter gaggle was Rachel Maddow and Keith Olbermann, who are opinion people over at MSNBC. I find that highly entertaining that they apparently were amongst these reporters, and that they're officially fair and balanced, apparently, according to the White House. You got to also understand that when Helen Thomas, who has been sitting in the front row of the White House for however many presidents,
150 years.
5 decades maybe, when she calls out the White House on this latest antic to call out Fox News, you know that something's going on.
But the point is not that Fox News is great or bad or indifferent. Jake Robert Gibbs missed the point. Why is the White House? Why is it okay for the White House to decide and declare and to define a news organization as not a news organization?
Right.
It's not appropriate.
Sure, exactly. I mean, the White House is not some political 501c3 outfit. This is the executive branch of the federal government. They are supposed to enforce the laws of the land and hold people accountable. And for them to do that, so many people are saying, why are they doing it? And you know what? To many, it looks, and this word has been used a while this week, Nixonian. And just imagine if last year or the year before, Dick Cheney went on Meet the Press and said, you know what, MSNBC is not a news channel because of, their opinion people. The New York Times printing press would have melted.
Especially like the question about the thousands of employees who work at Fox News, because we're talking about thousands of jobs here, and it really brought to light to me the outrageous claim that it's not a news organization.
I thought that brings back the Sunday moment that I thought would stick with me for a while when Rahm Emanuel was on CNN and kind of warned them, don't act like Fox News. So Rahm Emanuel's programming our counterparts to say, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. Don't try to be what they are.
Right. So clearly, there are parts of our daily presentation, the opinion stuff that the White House does not like. But we've got opinion, we've got news, just like all the other channels as well. But if I were in the White House press corps and I were working for one of the other channels, I would ask the same hard questions, because if the White House is coming after Fox because they don't like the coverage,
you're next.
What? Exactly right. Is that now? Here's the other thing. Pew Research did an analysis of who watches Fox News, and people always say, Fox News just has one point of view. That is not accurate. Take a look. What they did was they figured out who watches. Now the key is the proportion. those who watch Fox, about 40% are Republican, about 39%, 33% Democrat, and 22% Independent. That is pretty balanced. Then you look at CNN and MSNBC. They have way more Democrats than Republicans, which just goes to suggest, and it's the finding of the Pew study, the survey, that, we really are balanced when it comes to the
just
audience.
think for the administration who has to worry about the polls and opinions if they want to get their position across and legislation passed would be so foolhardy and clumsy in saying, I'm going to marginalize an audience like that. I'm going to tell those people, not us, because it doesn't matter to us that much individually, but our audience, that they don't matter.
Well, on its face, there are so many arguments about why it might not be a great move. I mean, for the White House to take on any news organization just seems kind of like a silly, naive move.
And there are a number of people, and I mentioned this before, who have used this one word to describe it: Nixonian. Let's see how long it lasts.
All right, let's get to some of your other headlines.